as written. There are no minutes to approve today, no special orders. We'll come down to public comment, not related items on the agenda. Seeing, hearing none, we'll keep moving. Public Works under general business. The first one is a resolution awarding the bid for the biosolids removal and disposal.
Yes, Mayor, I'll tackle this one. So we have a contractor, have a service that is needed to haul the sludge out of the wastewater plant. So that's, if you see big tanker trucks that drive down River Street, they may not be the only thing that does that, but it's certainly the primary one. It happens usually in the spring and in the fall. And we went out to bid and had two bidders, Biotech and EnviroGrow Agronomics out of Comstock Park. Biotech is the low bidder. They also have a comment about fuel charges. I've looked up the current fuel charge, or the current cost of diesel in their area, and they're under $4 a gallon. So we're not charged at this moment. Likely over the length of the contract, it could be something that comes up. We've dealt with those before, especially with Republic has had a fuel surcharge. So Biotech is a company we're very familiar with, very comfortable, have a professional organization. So we are recommending Biotech as our sludge hauler from the wastewater plant.
Anything else, Heather, on that one? Questions? Anyone? Commission? Public? Anyone? Question? Call a question, please. We have a resolution. Do we get a motion? Motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion the second, Tam.
James,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Gunther.
Yes. Next, we will entertain a resolution with wastewater recovery systems for lining of the sanitary sewer mains. And Mark explained how they do that to me, and it sounds very interesting, but Mark?
Yes, so the extension of our current contract, this is not something we do all of the time. It's a tool in the toolbox to deal with a pipe in a way that is cheaper than digging it up and extending the life of a sewer main for, I think, in the 40 to 50 year range is what they'll estimate when you do the lining on a sewer main. And so this is something we want to extend the contract. They have an amended set of rates there for us, the commission to review. And again, we will use as needed. I know one that has been focused on is the big sewer main that goes basically along the river walk through River Street Park to the wastewater plant, 30-inch. So that's a goal, is to have that line, because digging up and replacing would be a very, very large cost. So that's one that we're looking at doing.
Good. Do I hear a motion to that resolution?
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Questions for Mark or Heather? Questions from the public? Hearing none? Call the question.
Johnson,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Gunther,
Yes.
James.
Yes.
We had guests come in after I went to public comment. That's not on the agenda,
That's all right.
because I assumed you wanted to make a little public comment, either of you, or no?
I did.
Go ahead, we're gonna reopen it.
Sure?
We started early.
Oh, okay.
Started 3 minutes early, and that's why you're late, so.
Karen Hahn, Mecosta County Register of Deeds. I'm just here tonight because I'm running for Register of Deeds again, and also wanted to bring some information for anyone who might be interested. We have a program through the county for property fraud alert service. So you can go online and sign up for this service and input any name that you might have, any variation of your name. Anything gets recorded in the Register of Deeds office, you would receive a notification the very next day, either by email, text, or phone call, alerting you that something's recorded. Doesn't always mean that it's fraud, it just means something was recorded. You may be expecting something to be recorded, but I just brought some flyers, some information on that. If anybody's interested in that or had any questions for me about it, I'd be happy to.
So does that eliminate the need to buy that title insurance that they advertise on the radio all
It
the
does
time?
not. Title insurance is Are you talking about LifeLock or title insurance?
Title insurance, like,
Title insurance is when you're buying or selling property. They do a title search going all the way back in the deed records to make sure that the person selling to you has free and clear, there are no liens or encumbrances against that property, that they own it free and clear. And they're ensuring that there are no flaws in that title. What this does is just alert you that something's recorded. Because there's a lot of people out there who are spreading fear, and there's good reason. I haven't heard of any of this happening here in Mecosta County as yet, but what they will do is find vacant properties like snowbirds and things like that, or people who aren't, cottages, that kind of thing, and they will advertise them for sale online, and then when they have a buyer online, they create a fraudulent deed, which to us in the recording office looks legitimate. Wet signatures, notary signed it, all this stuff, and then they record it. So now you have two victims. You have the person who lost their property, you have the person who thought they were buying property for a cash sale, and so it's a problem. This helps, at least we would be alerted to it.
and you do it to the public for free?
Yes, yep, it's available for.
That's a win-win.
Yeah, and even if you have like an elderly parent or relative or somebody that you're trying to keep an eye on to make sure they didn't sign a reverse mortgage or something like that, you can put in a different name and you can still get an alert if something's recorded under that name. So it's a good service for that as well. And currently we're working legislatively to make it a felony to record a fraudulent deed like that. As of right now, that's not a felony. So that's going through, it's through the House. We're heading to the Senate.
I didn't understand that.
So that's it. If anybody has any questions, happy to help.
We're recording, who cares? No. Sorry, we're gonna keep moving with the agenda then. Next is the resolution accepting the bid for the purchase of the bonds for the Robin Hood Airport expansion. Finally, this is the last,
We skipped.
we'll do this other one because I just said all those words. And so, the bids are before you. Are there questions? Mark, it looks like Lake Osceola came up with the smallest rate.
They did, at 4.9, Mayor, they beat out Mercantile Bank by a very small amount. In fact, it was competitive all along. Lake Osceola continues to be a very valued partner to the city in our community projects, and they do their best to get our business, which they have done here. So this is I think we've well documented how we got to this point, but the borrowing that's needed to facilitate the airport runway extension.
Sorry for the misorder, but we'll get her done. Questions regarding that, this bond acceptance? I have to say, my wife has stock in Lake Osceola State Bank. She's the holder, she's the voter, she gets the dividends. So I believe your firm said that it's okay for me to vote on this.
That's correct. There's an Attorney General opinion that says it's not a conflict for circumstances.
Thank you. So do we have a motion for?
Wait a minute, since you brought that up, if you have anything with the bank, is it a conflict?
Are you saying if you have an account?
I have a, never mind, wrong bank. I'm good. But if let's say I had a mortgage with that bank,
That probably would not be a conflict.
okay, but no, I don't, I'm good.
Ownership interest.
It was the other
Is there a
thing.
motion for the bonds coming from Lake Osceola?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Further questions? Tammy?
You got me goofed up, Mayor.
Sorry, I skipped ahead, Tammy. You'll get it.
Okay, Simmons,
Yes.
Gunther,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Jen.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, bid awarding the raw water improvements for the water treatment plant versus cooked water, right? Is that? You were doing it, Heather, or is he?
I'll tackle this one, Mayor. So many years ago, I would say in the 90s, I guess I don't know the installation date, but it's not new. A system was installed at the water plant with the idea of increasing the aeration in the city's water system. and it's in place now, although it's bypassed. And what we found over time was that the aeration actually was creating a problem. And we found it first on campus. There is a section of copper piping around that is at least blamed on the increased aeration, that it was eaten away at a 90 on a copper pipe. And we've experienced it firsthand somewhat at the Department of Public Safety. So we, many months ago, bypassed that aeration system. This is the complete removal of it and finished plumbing that bypasses it. We have two bids. We've worked with Northwest Kent many times at both water and wastewater plants. They're our high bidder. I personally don't have any experience with DHE Plumbing and Mechanical. They were aggressive, very sort of a surprising spread in these two bids. Fleece and Vandenbrink did background with DHE and is recommending awarding the bid to them. So this will be, at least under my time working here, the first time we've worked with them, but it looks like they're trying to get our business. So I have no reason to think they're not a capable contractor. Fleece is recommending them, and we definitely do need to finalize this project and remove the aeration system. So
In the copper pipes, they're little teeny weeny pinholes, and they spray like a real fine mist, and that they blame it on the oxygen in the aeration system. Who sold us their aeration system? Maybe they could help pay for the removal of their aeration system.
I can't answer
You know,
that
Heather?
question.
Who? No, it was part of the water system put in place when we were taking from the surface water. So it's all chemical. And then when we got off of the surface water and went to the wells, it just stayed in front.
Thank you. Is there a motion for the removal of the aeration system from the water treatment plant?
So moved.
There's a second. Further questions? Tammy?
Johnson?
Yes.
Dennen?
Yes.
Gunther?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Now, another airport resolution. The last part of the engineering is to work on the wetlands credits and replacing wetlands for at the end of the runway. Anything else to add to that, Steve?
I don't know.
No, that's exactly what that is meeting on.
You brought up the old contract and showed where it was always on there.
Yeah, it was part of the financial plan since the beginning, so all the budget we've talked about and all that has been planned for.
Nothing new.
So it came in just a little bit higher than what was estimated in there by 9,000. But that will still be within that reimbursed range coming back to the city, besides our local match.
Questions?
I had one. They had a line item in their reimbursable expenses for airfare. And I was just curious what that was for. I think it was just like they put a blanket number on it, but they don't have any consultants working for them. So just something to keep an eye on when you finalize that contract.
Thank you. Other questions? What's runway 10 wetland permit? Did you see that, Steve?
Yeah,
We don't have runway 10.
So runway 10 will be the west side of our runway. So that's where currently it is 927 due to the compass headings. But with magnetic drift, now it'll become 1028. So that's where,
Oh, yeah, the magnetic drift.
so when it's all, that's been, a navigation in itself. But yes, 927 is the current runway, and at the end of the project, it'll be labeled 1028 due to drift.
You didn't tell me that, Mark. I
I
asked you
didn't
3
know
times this
about
morning about
magnetic
that.
drift, Mayor. I need to.
Thanks, Mark, for that. We have a motion with the resolution adding the wetlands.
So moved. Second.
More for the second. Questions? Hearing none. Tammy?
Yes.
Gunther?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
The next one is Carla's favorite. It's the resolution amending the budget at the end of the year to match all the things we did this year, and it's an extensive list. And Mark had the joy of reviewing the whole list with me this morning. Was it good, Mark?
It was very good, yes.
Because there were some unusual things in there. But I'm happy. Does anybody else read that closely? Karen, questions?
I'm gonna let my colleague.
Oh, she
Commissioner
doesn't know much about
James.
the treasurer's office. Go ahead, Lorraine.
Well, I did, but, Mr. Gifford helped me understand. It's a pretty comprehensive list. I hope in the next budget we can pare it down a little bit, but, no, I'm good.
You're good.
I'm good until something flags.
Amanda, anything?
I'm all set.
You're all set? From the audience, if you've got the packet, looked at the 12 pages of budget
It's not
corrections.
12.
It's a lot of pieces of paper.
It's only 2.
We resolved the problem where you budget zero and then have a big amount. That's been resolved.
Yes.
Just, it's a recording issue. A lot of it.
We went through it with a fine tooth comb.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, that's on that.
You happy with that, Mark?
Yes.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the resolution amending the fiscal year budget?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Further questions? Tammy?
James?
Yes.
Jonathan?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Yes. Next is a motion appointing, making appointment to the West Michigan Regional Planning Commission. Mark?
Yes, so Mayor, the reason we do this, and this is I don't know about every single, grant administrator, but the grant writer for the city historically has been on the SEDS committee of the West Michigan Regional Planning Commission. The SEDS committee is a clearinghouse for EDA grant applications, which all have to be funneled through the Regional Planning Commission. So this is a useful tool, although that we don't have a prospective EDA grant at the moment, we could. And this gives us some insight into what other people are doing, how they're doing it. And EDA grants are usually large, industrial type, and they foster industrial development many times. The industrial park that the township built was done with an EDA grant. The replacement of the Baldwin Street Bridge was done with an EDA grant. Those are the kinds of projects that are done through there, and having somebody on that committee is valuable to us.
And you have recommended the appointment of Megan Epley?
Megan Epley, yes.
Which is why we don't have John Epley sitting here in the chair today.
That's true, yeah.
Questions from the commission? Questions from the public? Hearing none, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. To appoint Megan Epley to the West Michigan Regional Planning Commission's subcommittee. Tammy?
Jonathan?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Gunther?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Next is an ordinance changing, the Big Rapids City Code to replace Director of Public Safety with Police Chief.
So, yeah, we changed our structure some time ago, to reflect having a police chief and a fire chief. Previous to that, we've had different, descriptors for those roles. And, at the point in time we changed those titles, we missed some, it looks like to me, where we still reference Director of Public Safety, and this would clean that up for us to reference now the police chief.
Questions? Commission? Do I hear a motion for that resolution?
So moved. Second.
Motion second for changing the code to say Police Chief. Questions? Tammy?
Kevin?
Yes.
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Yes.
We are going to come to the important part of the meeting tonight, in my humble opinion, and that is to hear from the voices of three well-known city residents who have all three put in their interest indicators to replace Jonathan Epley as city commissioner. And we know and support all three. We can do this from this area. We don't have to circle up for this, do we, Mark? Or?
No, Mayor, yeah, we're hoping you would stay here, and if you give us a few minutes break, we're gonna sort of reorient the room so the interviewee is central to that.
Take a 5-minute break.
Thank you. Sure. Yeah, that's, no, here, I'll get this.
This is getting, this is going, it's coming this way. These tables, I think, are good.
Okay.
You gonna bring a table up?
Oh, no, I still wanna be registered.
You're gonna put,
Now that I'm there, I just
They're gonna sit here.
I got it.
okay, Carla, can you take?
You want it away? Okay.
She's my best friend.
Gonna put them right there.
That's okay.
It's a green light, it's open.
Oh.
Just drop it.
Single day.
She's a hard one. She's a good egg.
Should we dismiss to go wait in the library? Just go now.
Yeah, I think you should go now. And then Carla, you're gonna be right here.
I think it's a little.
Oh, you're, I mean, run over you.
If I can read it, I'll get them.
Thanks.
We gotta wait for Lorraine.
A long time from now, mine's gonna be in August. Mine's a primary, so it's not mine's basically.
I sit down so much for my day job. I
Not
gotta
good
fix
for your
it.
posture.
It's not, went from standing all day to sitting all day, and I don't like the
Please
difference.
do.
That standing would probably keep you in better shape. I can't.
I gotta convince Seth to give me a standing desk.
Those neat ones are the ones that go up and down.
Yeah.
I think those
Well, and it's, you know, I even had to get a special chair because of where everything sits and my legs are longer. It's, yeah,
chairs are so important.
With us for a couple. As a come play with us.
That's on your feet running. I'm not
Yeah.
into that either.
I don't think I can handle it at this point right now.
Rosemary, we wondered if you could patrol the bridge to watch for the flower stealers.
I'd love to.
Oh, is that still happening? On both?
Happens Saturday, Friday morning.
They would get them.
Pure Marquette Bridge or just?
No, the Maple Street.
It's more maple, it's been on both.
He's replanted those, I don't know, probably 6
Oh,
times.
yeah.
Most of them.
We're all out of flowers now, so
Yep.
the decision is,
But I can
Michelle,
leave those for,
I'll take those, yeah.
okay,
are you back?
perfect.
Are they,
the doors are open, right? I mean,
Here.
no,
Mayor,
but they can then open it right now.
I don't think so.
Oh, well, then leave it.
Mayor Rosemary had something for you.
Oh,
Are they destroying the ones on the Baldwins?
not
Not as
nearly like
much, yeah.
the one on Maple.
You know, I just think that's a shame, something.
They could be gorgeous by now, but they keep having to be replanted.
Are they ripping them out and
Pull them
just?
out, throw them in the river.
That's what I figured, and probably watch them float.
Oh my goodness. Those flowers are so beautiful everywhere in the city. I just,
No, you're fine. It'll be fine. Thanks.
We'll call the meeting back to order. We're now going to interview each of the candidates. It's determined by the city clerk and city manager, the order in which you appear. And the questions by the commissioner are rotating as well as to who goes first, second, third, fourth. And it's, I hope my intention, last time we did this, when one of our commissioners had to resign, why we, after the interviews, appointed the new one at that same meeting. I believe you researched that, Mark? So maybe we should follow tradition, but the committee itself will determine whether we vote as soon as that's done. Because it's a public meeting, the other two candidates do not have to leave the room. They voluntarily left the room because some people asked the same question of the same person. And they were nice enough to say they were gonna step out. That's the only reason they left. So, we'll begin this session. Welcome, thanks Paula. We've all known for years and years.
I know it.
It's not like a new person in town. And I drew first straw for asking, so I gotta put my glasses on, Paula, if it just. Anyway, welcome, Paula. We're not doing opening statements first, we're just going right in because you answered most of the questions on your form. My question is, what is the most important factor to make a city great?
Most important factor, that, I think it's hard to narrow down just one. I think it encompasses a lot of things. It's the people, it's the way that this is run, that our community works together as a whole, which we aren't doing a very good job of right now, but we can get better at that. I think as a whole, we need to work together. We need to just get over our differences. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't bully those that do if you don't agree with them. And just work together. That is the biggest thing that we can do right now, because there's such a division that it's stopping so many things and so many people from being good and great.
Thank you, Paul. Next, we have, the list is in front of you, so if you know who's next, it is Jane. Sorry,
Okay,
James.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
So I have 3 questions I'd like to ask, so do I ask them all at one
No,
time, or
ask
do we
one,
go
and then if we
through?
have time for her 15
Okay.
minutes, you'll get another whack at another
So
question.
that's the one that you wanna ask the most.
Well, that was the first one I did, so I'm thinking I want to ask it the most. Paula, while serving, you've got listed civic activities and offices held. While serving with those activities, what did you contribute?
Working with the DDA, we had meetings and looked at budgets and looked at how we could best serve the community with the funds that we had. How do we help the farmers market? How do we help different organizations in town? Just what can we do better with what we have?
That is as a whole, but you personally, what did you contribute?
Personally, I would bring up things that I thought needed attention. If someone came in with a request, I wanted to know more about why and where was our money going to go. What did we give them from before? An example is Tubabak. Tubabak does good things here in town, and they do things in the schools, but they need some support because they fly people in from everywhere. So we looked at what we did and said, this is what we did before, and we increase this. And if we do, are we taking away from something else that might need our attention? We said, no, we can go ahead and we can increase this now. And so we can help Tubabak to be downtown, to be in the area, to be at the schools, and just enrich the community.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Amanda, you're next.
Yes. Okay. So my primary question, I guess, would be, how do you believe your current skills and experiences would benefit you as a commissioner, and how do you plan to address any knowledge gaps that come from sitting on the city commission as opposed to other types of boards and committees?
I'm in town every day. We have a lot of people that come through those doors. We hear and see a lot of things at the bakery that it's like your bar with a cupcake. You know, we know a lot of what is going on, so I can bring concerns that may not be addressed with the board. I can also show insight to this is how this group feels, or this is how, you know, the Fairman Nesbitt building group feels, where they might not be able to or wouldn't come to a meeting. And so if I have a gap, I'm gonna reach out to you guys with the knowledge that you have and that have been here, and I'll pick on Mark. And if I have a question, I'm not gonna be afraid to ask. I want the answers to the question that I have. I don't wanna just be added and sent along. If I have a question, I really wanna know.
Can I ask one clarification question?
Sure, if it's on the same question.
It's on the same one. Would you be open to doing educational programs through Michigan Municipal League to fill in any commissioner gaps?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you, Paula. Please, Commissioner.
All right. What are your ideas for getting more Ferris students engaged with the Big Rapids community?
What we do is we put things in their little bags when they come in. That's a good way to get a hold of them when they first come in. Get a hold of the orientation people that are doing the walkarounds. reach out to them because they're the ones that are introducing these new students to Ferris, to Big Rapids, to downtown. They don't think there's a lot of things past shooters. So we have to let them see it. We've done some things where we've said, you have to ride the bus and you have to walk through town and you have to watch all these other things go on. And they go and they get their stamps and they go, yep, and they get back on the bus. We have to give them more of a reason to come down than because you had to get your stamp, to get approved for this day, to get this credit. They need to know that we are more. There was a group, and I don't know where it went, but they were talking about putting little dog paws and going from Ferris to downtown. It never happened because I think there were a lot of logistics with getting paws to and from places. We can maybe do something like that to say, you're welcome down here. There's a lot of places, there are places that need to be open to welcoming the students. It's not like, oh my gosh, here they are again. It's like, no, they're a 12,000 member community that we need to engage with. So we need to talk to the faculty, we need to talk to the people that are doing the orientations, the kids that are walking around. We go to Gridiron. I mean, we get to know those football players and the coaches, and we reach out to different organizations and say, how can we help you? The Ferris Foundation, you know, come downtown. There's more than just these couple little things. So it's just reaching out and being open.
How are we doing with time, Steve?
Sorry, my phone, blah, blah, blah.
We have 15 minutes per
Oh,
person. That's
okay.
why were you remembering that?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, if I need to be shorter, just let me
No,
know.
no, it's your
you did
time.
fantastic.
But when the buzzer goes off, it's all.
Uh-oh, okay. Oh, good. Not
Now, we're on the second round. Anybody, I'm gonna pass mine.
Mayor, I
I
just
know
wanna
Paula
make,
well, and I don't.
I just wanna make sure that Paula gets time at the end to ask us a question if she wants to.
Let us know when we're at like 12.
Yeah, well done.
I'll do
Yes,
one more.
please.
If you could help accomplish just one thing in the next 1.5 years, if you were appointed, what would it be?
one thing.
One thing.
You know me better than to just go one thing. Open communication. I feel a lot of people that don't realize who you guys are and what you do. They need to. I think they need to know who each one of the board members are, and what this group does. So I think there's a lot of, I don't want to say, what do you call it? They just don't know. It's just not an education of who's on this board and what do they do.
Do you hear that one, Steve?
Yep.
Head of Communications?
Yes.
I have an additional question.
Please.
What inspired you to apply for this appointment position now instead of at any time in the past?
There are some things that have opened them up in our schedule. We've got a great crew down there, so I can trust them that if I need to go do something for you or for here, I don't have to worry about what's happening back there. We're at a good spot, and so you had an opening. Jonathan is fabulous, and I think you guys do good things, and I just feel like I could be a good addition, a good part of what's going on here.
Thank you.
Others? How we doing?
You just hit the 12-minute.
Okay. Anybody else have a question?
I'll let Paula ask her questions.
I'll defer.
Okay. Paula, do you have anything for us?
Just, real quick, Duck Duck Downtown. We're putting little ducks around downtown with little things. We're incorporating all the businesses that want to play with us. So you hear Duck Duck Jeep, we're doing Duck Duck Downtown. We're going to let people know that come downtown. You can get a cookie from us. You can get something from Natural Beauty. You can get something from Schuberg's. You can get something. It's just a walk around and have fun downtown and find these little ducks. And if you don't bring us back a duck, we got a duck. But anyway, that's one thing that we're doing. I want to thank you for the opportunity. I'd be honored to be a part of the team. I'll give you all of my best, truthful. I have no agenda, and I always want to do what's best for Big Rapids. So if you guys need anything, don't be afraid to ask. If you want to set up down there and listen to what's going on in the bakery, you're more than welcome to come down. I'll give you my all.
Thank you so much, Paula, for volunteering.
Absolutely.
Very good. Good, Mark, we could switch. Sure. So for the second candidate, Lorraine James will be first, Amanda Johnson second, Karen Simmons third, and I will be fifth. Did you ask?
I guess just to take water is what it sounds like.
Wow.
It's right up front.
This devil thing.
You're used to it by now.
Hi, David, welcome back.
Thank you.
You were at the forum on the other building, and we remember that well. It was all done randomly. You're second because that's how the clerk did this. What she says goes.
Right, exactly. I've learned that, yes, I've learned that, so.
And same with us. So this time, the first questioner will be James, then Johnson, then Simon, then Gunther. Lorraine, James?
Okay, so my question is, on your indicator, underneath previous civic activities, you put Big Rapids Charter Revision
Correct.
Commission. And my question is, since that commission has started and met, what have you personally contributed?
So far, really, I have, unfortunately, had some issues come up with the family. I had to have a couple of meetings I missed, but I have really just been kind of on the outskirts, just kind of getting into it. I have decided that if I do not get the commissioner position, we are actually looking to form a subcommittee for public outreach and kind of start getting public outreach. And I did say that I will help with that. I have a degree in marketing and previous experience getting outreach. I'm actually helping with my son's robotics team to kind of rebrand their team, do a public outreach, we're working on public outreach, getting the public's input. So that's kind of my thing is, right now I'm kind of in limbo on what I'm gonna do. I haven't done much yet. I'm just kind of getting my feet wet, getting used to the committee. And then if I end up staying on the committee, I'm going to help with the public outreach and getting input.
Thank you.
Please.
My primary question is, how do you believe your current skills and experiences would benefit you as a commissioner? And how do you plan to expand your knowledge of what the position of city commissioner is?
Very good question.
If you get appointed.
I think the skills that I really will bring that I think will help, I think I put in my interest indicator that, you know, working in retail for over 20 years has taught me to help lead a team. It's also, I joke that at my current position, if you guys ever came into Meyer, you probably can't find me because I'm running around like, all over the place. I'm one of the people that they're always depending on. They're always wanting me to go here, there, and everywhere. Sunday nights, I'm the guy that's in charge of the store. So that's taught me to think on my feet, be quick answers, some situation we've had to deal with. It's also helped me to learn to de-escalate situations. I've seen the good and the bad. I've seen you guys have empty rooms like tonight. I've seen you guys have packed rooms where it's gotten kind of tense, but you guys handle it very well. And then kind of with building my skills, I've actually been kind of thinking about this a little bit if I did get the position. One of the first things I think I would do is to kind of just sit down, meet with the city manager, also some of the other heads of the departments, just kind of get to learn more about the different departments, kind of, almost kind of what we're doing a little bit with the charter revision and, how we're revising the charter and meeting with the different heads and kind of figuring out, what they want in the charter. Kind of the same thing. It's just sitting down, getting to know the people, and going from there.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Ursula.
What are your ideas for getting more Ferris students engaged with the Big Rapids community?
That is a very good question. It's hard. It is a very hard thing. I have been in town. I grew up in the area. I've seen Ferris go from a college to a university. I am an alumni of Ferris, like I said. It's hard because the Ferris students, they're either here for the athletics, and so that keeps them tied up, or there are some that unfortunately are just here to get an education, have a good time. So if they're not in class, they're having a good time. One thing that I think would help that I'm kind of bummed they didn't do this year, and I know it was more of a Ferris thing than anything. They didn't do the big event this year, which I think is a good thing, not only for Ferris, because it's a good outreach for Ferris, but it's a good bonding experience for the community, because they have the Ferris students out there being with the community. My mom's had them help her a couple times. I was kind of thankful that I did see that Rosemary from my trailer park had the basketball team over one night, helping with the yards. That was nice. I mean, they're still out there in the community, but there's still room for improvement. I know some of the people. I used to know the athletic director. I actually used to work with the athletic department as an intern there. So it's, you know, there's room for improvement, but it's hard because you've got such that vast mix, like I said, of kids that are either here for athletics or here to just, when they're not in class, have fun, and then there's those that are here that are serious, and then they're studying because they want to study and they want to get the good grades, and so.
Very good. Dave, why should a citizen rely on you to make the right decisions for their city?
I think a citizen can rely on me to make the right decision because I feel that being in the position I'm in, between where I work, kind of the connections I have in town, being here so long in town, I joke that I'm the mayor of Meyer, because I'll be walking around with my bosses or something, and somebody's like, "Hey," I'm like, "Hey," and they're like, "How do you know that person?" I'm like, "Oh, that's so-and-so from here, or that's so-and-so from there," and I would hope that I would be one that the normal average Joe off the street could feel comfortable coming to and talking to, or emailing, or, you know, nowadays you don't talk as much, you email or you text, or, you know, use technology. I'm hoping that I would be one that they would, you know, they could feel that they can do that, reach out to me that way, and then that way I can build that rapport, and hopefully they can feel that they can trust me when it comes to decision time.
Thank you, David. More time. How are we doing time-wise?
We got just under 9 minutes.
Okay. Another question.
Is it me? If you could help accomplish just one thing in the next 1.5 years, what would it be?
I think the one thing that I would like, if I could really help, is I think to help, and I kind of put this in my paper a little bit, is that I would like to help maybe try to, there seems to be a division happening in the city a little bit. You know, if you talk to the average person, you look on, you know, social media, there's a division over certain topics that I'm not going to name. And that's one thing I would like to try to help, is getting that unity back together here in the city. I mean, the city has always been known as being a unified, I've never seen the division like this before. Even you know, things that I can remember, I've never seen the city be this divided like this on social media and stuff. And I want to help try to get that back to being unified.
Thank you.
Thank you. Second questions? What's the most important factor that makes a city great?
I think the most important factor in making the city great is that those that are the decision makers or the leader of the city are open to listen to their constituents, their people. Without the voters, the people, none of you would be in your positions that are now. I mean, you've all been elected, you've all been, you know, people have confidence in you. And I think that's what's most important, is that you have, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of just, you know, you're open to the public and open to your people that voted, put you there in the first place.
Thank you. Dave, we're gonna leave the last few minutes for you to ask us questions if you have any.
I really can't think of anything that I can think of off the top of my head.
Thank you. Any questions for David? Any further? Thank you. Mark,
Thank
if you change off. This will be Johnson, Simmons, Gunther, and James.
Uh-oh.
Oh my goodness.
Are you drinking that fast?
Our families to go out to
You're gonna have to go to the bathroom.
Tammy, worry about Tammy.
Good job, Tammy.
You'd be last, huh?
Greg, welcome.
Well, thank you.
The clerk and the manager arranged for who was first, second, and third, and then they also arranged us as to who questions first, second, third, and fourth. Completely random as far as I know, just showed up in my email. Is that right, Dee? So,
So you
welcome.
do what you're told, right?
If Tammy tells you, you do what you're told.
We're smart.
If we're smart, we do it, Tammy. The first questions will come from Commissioner Amanda Johnson for Greg Schulin. Thank you.
Hi, Greg.
Hi, Amanda.
How are you doing today?
Very well, better than I deserve.
Okay, Dave.
Okay, so my first question is, given the partial term of about a year and a half, what are your primary goals and objectives for accomplishments in that short time frame? And what would success look like for you at the end of it?
Well, in my application, interest indicator, I mentioned the main issues. I think zoning compliance, rental zoning and care of property, those kind of ordinances should be looked at. I know 18 months is a short window. I'd like to learn about what we can do about certain street repairs. I know that there's budgets and you gotta pay attention to those, but I see some things I'm wondering what's going on. Mark keeps getting pictures from me, but there's another hole in a street someplace. So. And then I'd like to take a peek at the real estate taxing process for homeowners. So
Very good.
So would it be safe?
success would look
Yeah.
like we make it better for people. Keep the taxes under control and improve the streets and encourage people to follow the rules. Because I think homeowners want to live here because it's a great city and they can get what they expect.
Thank you.
Who's next? Karen.
What are your ideas for getting more Ferris students engaged with the Big Rapids community?
Well, that's a big one. It's kind of neat. I get to work with Pastor Mike Wissink, who's like the unofficial official chaplain for the sports teams at Ferris. And I've gone on several mission trips with him with the college students. And we go to places like in the deep south, someplace where it's been hit with a hurricane or tornado. And there's some great kids going to Ferris. And I remember talking to some people, young people, saying, there's nothing to do in Big Rapids. And I go, do you know there's a river runs right through here? Do any of you guys like to fish? Because I love to fish my river. I call it my river. But I think there are some empty holes in downtown, like we've lost our theater and things like that. I think we've got plenty of bars and gathering places so far. But I think engaging them would be, I'm thrilled with the improvement in the park, Hemlock Park, and it's going on. I walked through there with my grandkids Saturday, and there's a lot of people using it. And I think there's some college students that were just enjoying this town. So I don't know what level of engagement comes to mind for you, Commissioner, but I think it's called the Big Event, in the spring. It's just they've come to my home several times. And we make cookies for them, and I think that kind of partnership the students feel good about it, and we feel good as city residents that we're glad they're here.
Thank you.
My turn. How would you handle a disagreement between you and the city manager?
Does that ever happen?
We each meet for an hour within a week, and my hour's always way full overflowing.
No, it would probably be a policy thing or something, how we're approaching something, more than likely. But you would have to hear each other out. We have to see, I like some of the solutions that Mark was explaining for some of the votes that had to be taken tonight. You have to do the research to find out what's going on. And but I could disagree with Mark or any city manager about something, but we would have to find out where we're coming from. You need to take time to discuss it and say, oh, So that's what you meant, because sometimes we disagree because we thought we understood. Not that I've been married 40 plus 5 years, that happens too, you know. You can disagree and you realize you're talking past each other, so I would handle the agreement, I think, with cordiality and with asking more questions.
Thank you. Back again.
Commissioner James
Oh.
gets to go.
Yeah, haven't done one yet.
She hasn't come.
Oh, well, let's
You
go.
were just gonna skip right over. Okay, Greg, on your indicator, you listed a number of civic activities and offices held in clubs, et cetera. My question is, what did you personally contribute? And you can pick any one or two or three or whatever.
Wow, yeah, I think, you know, one of my favorite things, and the late Dr. Bob Sharp says, Greg, a guy who I know votes Republican a lot, you're a union president now? How'd that happen? You know? I said, well, when I was asked to be president, it was just great to provide leadership and help people understand how to cooperate. You know, the union needed to have its needs met, and the school district, or in that case, the amalgamated union, it was, I was president for a couple of years. It had hospital employees, it had county employees, it had county road commission employees, it had parapros from MOSD. And as a leader, you help people make decisions and get to resolution. One of the biggest things was, if we're always fighting management, whoever management is, whether it's the hospital, the school district, or the MOSD, we can't have an adversarial relationship. You have to have a work together relationship. And that doesn't mean you don't hold to account. I remember we had a problem with the contract was violated during a summer feeding program, free lunch program, and they were scheduled for straight time on a holiday weekend, and they didn't realize it when they made the schedule. And so they said, well, what do you think we should do? I said, I think you should follow the contract because they need to be paid the extra time for the holiday weekend, or cancel the day, and they didn't want to do that. So sometimes you have to stick to the letter of the law, but other times you have to cooperate. So I think you have to provide leadership. You don't do everything. You help encourage people to do the right thing sometimes. That was one that was very gratifying for me. I love serving meals on the simplest level, you know, serving meals at Third Avenue Methodist. I think you meet all kinds of folks that just really need a place to come and be cared about and have a nice meal and feel at home and feel safe, and they get someplace to get out, you know. My church work is kind of obvious that you care about people. You know? So I mean, it's all those things, it's caring about people. I could go on, but you said I only had to pick a few.
Well, that's true, thank you.
Others? Second time through?
I have a follow-up
Please.
question. Okay. What, in your opinion, are the primary responsibilities of a city commissioner in Big Rapids?
Well, I think it's important that they understand that they set policy, they set direction. The executive, the execution of that comes with the other parts of the city government. You know, so you have to make some tough decisions or set some guidance. I think like some of the decisions that were made here tonight is a good example. You got to do your due diligence, if you want to call it that, ahead of time, but you have to be responsible to know what's facing the city and address it in a teamwork manner. But you don't overstep your bounds because, you know, there's other people in the city have their part to do. But you have to set policy and set direction.
And then in regards to the public, what responsibility or diligence do we owe to them?
Well, transparency and honesty, absolutely. And availability at times, you know, it's very important. People are gonna have questions, you know. And, you can't have unofficial meetings on the street, but you can, you know, get to know the people of the city.
Thank you.
Very good.
Okay. You can ask us anything you'd like for the last couple minutes of your interview.
Okay, how do you feel as a commission, how things have gone? We've been into it for a few years with the cash revenue from the marijuana experiment here in Big Rapids. Do you think it's gone well? Do you think could be better? Do you think we have enough stores? Do we think too many stores? How is that project done for you, as you see it as a city leadership?
Anybody?
Um, Mark, could you clarify for us again how we receive our revenue from the state? I believe it's a complicated process where we only get paid out based on the locations open during the time they choose. Isn't that correct? Not based on the actual sales in our
Correct,
community?
that's correct.
That's right. That,
Okay.
I can go, it's,
Okay,
right, so
yeah,
they measure how many stores you have at the end of September, the end of their fiscal year. That sets, the benchmark for how many they're gonna pay out. It has nothing to do with whether a store in town made money or didn't. Everybody who buys marijuana across the state pays a 10% excise tax. That goes into a pot and it's divided out by those number of stores that you have.
So the more stores in our community, in September, the larger profit share we receive, regardless of how much we actually are selling.
Okay.
As a clarification, I'm not aware, I didn't know if you were aware of that.
I was not, you know.
I think Mark Gifford was very wise in how he advised the commission to utilize the money given to us by the marijuana fund. Mark believes it should go into the general fund and be part of our whole budgetary process and be given out that way. Whereas the county does it differently. They go on in this fancy thing and they give out grants like the state of Michigan, and that we have found that Mark's way is way better. Otherwise, you have people coming in begging for certain amounts of money, and it's, you know, I'm glad we do it that way, and Mark knows I feel that way. I don't know how the other commissioners feel about it, but that, my question's way bigger. No substance good. Beer, wine, liquor, marijuana, crack cocaine, none of them are good. So, yeah, I have to, in my mind, every time they give this money to the city, I have to say to myself, well, we're gonna use that for good things. Because a substance that creates an altered mind isn't a good idea, no matter what the substance is. But I can't change that one, and there are laws, as the attorneys know, that you can't change those.
So
That's how I view that.
I'll offer, my perspective on it too. This has never for me been about the number of sales or the number of businesses. If you say it's not marijuana, it's a auto sales business, right? There can be as many auto sales businesses as the town supports. So it just so happens that with this one specific type of business, according to the state mandate, there are funds that become available to the jurisdictions that have them. And keep in mind, the county, because these businesses are in the city of Big Rapids but are not allowed in the county, the county still gets a portions of those fees. So I always see us as, and keep in mind, we went through 2 elections, I think, for it. So, let's,
you mean ballot initiatives?
yes, 2 ballot initiatives.
Yes.
So I don't think about it in terms of, gosh, we need more, gosh, we need less. It's a type of business, the community supports it, and then there's this really weird thing tied to it. And as the mayor said, we use that for public works and other things like that.
So I'm hearing it was a win in the sense the way the state decided to put a revenue sharing together. But you don't get revenue sharing like that from a car dealership or from a bookstore or something.
Just general sales revenue share.
Just the tax.
Yep.
General tax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just
But I don't think it's something to be proud of in Michigan that we just surpassed California in number of products sold in a year. We're now at 22 million. California's
Cannabis products?
Yeah, and California's at 21. Now, they way out earn us, but that's not something to be proud of to me, but that's just my own personal opinion.
I guess I also don't see it as the city's experiment.
Right.
You know, I truly, because
Well,
there was a
yeah.
ballot initiative.
We kind of were the small city in a rural area that tried to see if we could make it work. And that's, I was just wondering how you felt about it this many years in. Maybe experiment wasn't the best choice, but I got educated here tonight, and I think that's wonderful.
How's this time going?
25 seconds.
Okay, thank you. If you'll just stay out there for 1 minute, we're gonna do something, continue the meeting, but
Yes, sir.
we're not allowed to say you can't stay, but I'm gonna do. How did that do, Attorney Long, you know? I would like to proceed with election. Anybody not want to proceed with election?
Ross has a clarifying question that,
For on public record,
Paula's, interest indicators, she checked city resident at least 1 year, she did not check registered voter.
She is.
She is, but thank you for clarifying, it isn't checked on the.
Okay,
so.
all right.
But she's qualified, just wanted to make that clear, sorry, Mayor.
Good, you checked them all, I'm sure.
And they've all been checked for not being default
Yes.
or anything?
I'm always to think about it, Mayor, and then, come back, especially after, talking to folks. But what I will say is that there is one candidate that does stick out to me as, someone who, you know, practices what they preach. I've seen David Rhodes at several of our meetings, actively attending, you know, prior to, running for election, and then even, when he was not elected, he still continued to attend meetings, and stepped up to be on the Charter Commission too. And I think when I consider all three candidates, that does stand out to me, make that candidate stand out.
Is it, anybody have a major problem with voting tonight? You thought maybe you'd like wait 2 weeks, but you'd be okay?
I have no problem.
Okay. They could all come back. Could you get them?
Mayor,
Michelle,
how
out?
did you want to handle the voting?
Uh,
Were you, yeah, I just wanted to be real
thought
clear before we called them back in.
Some consensus prior to bringing them in, or are we going to
What,
vote in front of all?
Somebody makes a motion to appoint someone, somebody seconds it, and then you vote.
That's what you're looking for from us.
Yep. I'm gonna open it up.
Any other discussion wanted prior to bringing them in?
I don't.
I think we
I
just
don't-
need to all be on the same page before they come back in, what it is we're doing. Yes.
I don't have a problem with being on the same page, but I may not agree with the same candidate.
Right, I assume you
That's
will.
where I'm at.
Yep.
And so if there is a disagreement, and that's where I'm saying,
If it
there
goes
is-
2-2 on a candidate, then I'll open it to another candidate. If it goes 2-2, 2-2, 2-2, then the only way that person can be brought back on is if a person who voted no on that candidate is nominated, the person they voted no on, then you can re-vote it. Is that correct?
Yes, but you will need 4 votes to reopen it, because a motion for reconsideration takes 4 votes.
Okay, so you'll have to yell if I'm doing it wrong. Cause I've never done this particular thing. We did Amanda when she got appointed, we did it right the same night, and it worked. It worked.
Mayor, I think,
Good.
Should we want them back in?
yeah, I mean, we're,
That's okay with us. We're public, so
we're
that's up to
fully
them.
transparent, so,
Yep, yeah.
no issue.
I don't wanna talk about them in front of them, I can't do it.
Right.
I just can't, I don't have the good spot. Thank you all for the interviews, appreciate it. Now, we are going to, if we get the proper vote totals, appoint a commissioner tonight. Is there a motion for a candidate,
I have a motion.
please?
I move that we appoint David Rhodes as the, city commissioner to fill Jonathan Epley's empty seat.
Is there a second? That dies for lack of second. Is there another motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Greg Schuin to fill the position.
Is there a second? I'll second, which is legal.
Yes.
So we have a motion and support for Greg Schuin. And this is a straight vote, correct? Don't need 4.
No, we will do.
Tammy, call the question, please.
James,
Yes.
Johnson,
No.
Timmon,
No.
Gunther.
Yes. Motion fails for lack of 3 votes. Are there other motions?
I move to appoint Paula, pronunciation of the last name.
Billfuss.
Billfuss, to replace John Epley on the city commission.
Is there a second?
Support.
Call the question.
Second.
Yes.
Sorry.
Call the question.
Johnson,
Yes.
Timmon,
Yes.
Gunther,
No.
James.
No.
Motion fails for having 3. The only way we can continue is to have one of the no voters on a candidate make a new motion. That's correct?
So the only way you can reconsider it tonight is if one of the people who voted no would move to reconsider that vote, and then all 4 of you would have to agree to reconsider the vote.
Anyone, anything? Hearing none, there will be no candidate appointed tonight. And how many days do we have, Mark?
We have 45 days, which takes us to July 12th. Our next regular scheduled meeting would be July 1st.
The 12th is the end of 45 days from the day Jonathan was officially accepted his resignation or when he announced it. Okay, could become important.
That was from the date of our special meeting.
Okay, that's what it
Which
is.
is July 12th.
All right, so we don't have a candidate to put up, and we're going to readdress this on the July 1st meeting. Is that right, Counselor? We're good?
Yes.
Okay, any other business for the good of the city?
I had unscheduled business, but I lost my notes. I know what it was. I have talked to most of you individually, but I do want to make sure that we put back on our agenda, sometime in July if possible, a discussion, a work session about the Hanchett property and clearly define what we are and what we are not looking for so that the city manager and city staff have that when they are reviewing offers for the property. That's all I had.
Very good. Others? All right, we're adjourned.
Thank you for being here, Ross.